Nom Nom delivers fresh food with whole ingredients backed by veterinarian science. Science tells us that a dog's health starts in the bowl, so improving their diet is one of the best ways to help them live a long and happy life. Nom Nom's food is full of proteins your dog loves and the vitamins and nutrients they need to thrive. All you have to do is order, pour, and serve. Ready to make the switch to fresh? Order Nom Nom today. Go to https://trynom.com/curveball and get 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's https://trynom.com/curveball. Plus, Nom Nom comes with a money-back guarantee. If your dog's tail isn't wagging within 30 days, Nom Nom will refund your first order. No fillers, no nonsense, just Nom Nom. Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, we're going to talk sound healing, as I am joined by one of the premier music sound healing artists of our time, Ashana. Ashana is a performer. She is a recording artist, a sound healer, and a teacher, and she travels all around, and she does her sound healing by her vocals and by what is called crystal singing bowls. So if you want to know what that is and how it works, stay tuned. Ashana, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Curtis. It's my delight and pleasure to be with you.
Why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a musician, a crystal bowl artist. I work with sound healing, and I actually grew up in the Bronx in New York City and made my way from the Bronx, where I went to one of the conservatories in New York City where I studied voice and music, and I eventually found my way into Santa Fe, New Mexico. And it was in Santa Fe, New Mexico that I was very serendipitously introduced to my first crystal singing bowl. And within 3 weeks, I had 7. And now I live in a house with a room that is dedicated to crystal singing bowls. And if your listeners could see, I am actually surrounded by over 100 alchemy crystal singing bowls right now in every size, shape, and color you can imagine.
So, for those of us who do not know, tell us actually what crystal singing bowls are and what are their purpose, and how do you play them?
Well, crystal singing bowls were actually, this is very interesting, they were the cast-offs from force-growing crystals in crucibles for the semiconductor industry in our national laboratories and our space programs. I know that sounds pretty strange, doesn't it? So if you can imagine, back in the 1960s and 70s, somebody who knew the Tibetan bowls and who was familiar with the metal bowls, the bronze and 7 metal bowls, they discovered one of these cast-offs, and through some great insight, took a wand, usually covered with suede or some, we call them mallets. They took the mallet and they circled around the rim, right? So if you could see me right now, you would see me holding a wand and going around a crystal singing bowl. And they did this, and they realized that it created this beautiful sound. Can you hear that? That's a little taste of that sound right now.
Yes, I can hear it.
Yeah. And once they did this, it's like it kind of began to take off, and people just became entranced with them. Now, in the world of sound healing, we no longer get our bowls as cast-offs from the national laboratories or the semiconductor industry, and they are not only used for force-growing crystals. They are now specifically created for the purpose of sound and vibrational healing. And what these bowls do, and I'm going to be hopefully giving you little tastes of it during our conversation today, but what the bowls do is they almost immediately bring a person into a state where the mind begins to quiet down almost instantly. You know those repetitive thought patterns that we all have. I mean, maybe unless you're a Tibetan Buddhist monk or someone who spends all their time meditating, whose minds are very quiet and still. I am not one of those kind of people. And it wasn't until I began playing crystal singing bowls that I actually learned how to be quiet inside. That sound is so gentle and spacious.
It most definitely is. Now, I know when I was talking to your publicist and I asked, could you give us a sample? She was saying that it was going to be a big setup. So how easy or hard is it to set up to be able to play these singing crystal bowls?
Well, we have the setup all set up for you today, so I think that's why I hope you can hear them beautifully today. I hope the sound is beautiful. You'll have to tell me if it's not. But how hard is it? Well, we use a professional sound setup. Right now we have, let's see, 5 microphones around approximately 10 crystal bowls. We use a mixing board, and my husband is manning the board right now, so that the sound that you get, along with my vocals, sounds as close as we can get to a studio sound in our small room here.
And yes, the sound is beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, tell us about some of the firsthand stories that you know about of people that have experienced healing from sound.
Well, I think one of the most dramatic stories that has ever happened to me. I was doing a concert in California once, and a woman came to the concert, and she came in with her husband in a wheelchair. And prior to the concert, she told me that she had had 11 tiny fractures, pelvic fractures, and she had been struggling and suffering with those pelvic fractures for years. So her pelvis was so fragile that if she did any kind of movement that put stress on it, her pelvis would fracture again. So she had come to the area in order to do some work with another crystal bowl player who is a very, very dear friend of mine. And she was there at my concert as well. So she rolled in a wheelchair, and we played this beautiful concert for 2.5 hours. And the next day, I saw her walking down the street. And she and her husband came up to me, and it had been the first time she'd been out of her wheelchair. She was delirious. She was ecstatic. She was walking. So I think that was probably the most dramatic, but I've been in many, have had many experiences where people will have visions during a bowl experience. They will have physical healings where I've had situations where people have past tumors. I have had situations where kidney issues or gastroenterology issues, stomach, lower intestinal things have moved and shifted. I've had experiences where people have had profound emotional releases that have allowed them to shift layers of grief or resentment or anger. Experiences where people have had crystal sound healing, and where there have been illuminated ideas and visions of their life purpose, more clarity on significant questions that they've had about personal direction or about relationships or anything that's been a challenge or troubling them. That kind of thing is routine, quite frankly. So it's really very remarkable, and it's different for everybody.
Well, you also talk about how sound healing quiets a busy mind and
Mhm.
relieves things like stress and anxiety. So tell us a
Totally.
little bit about that.
Well, if we take a moment here, and I'm just going to invite everybody that's listening right now to just close your eyes for a moment and allow your breath to soften, become more gentle. Relax your mouth. Imagine that your tongue is getting heavy in your mouth. And just feel yourself beginning to let go. There's no place to go. There's nothing you need do right now except feel the vibration and the quiet. And if a thought comes into your mind, just allow it to be. Don't try to make it go away or force it to do anything. Just focus on your breath and the sound. And imagine yourself breathing in peace and exhaling peace. Breathing in peace and exhaling peace. And that's just a taste of what this beautiful sound can give us in just a few moments. if you can imagine yourself just being bathed in this sound for an hour or two, or listening to music that has this. I have many recordings where you can listen to beautiful vocals and the crystal singing bowls, and people listen to these, some of my recordings people play in their homes 24/7 as a way of raising the vibration in their home and for their personal lives. So it's a gift that we're given, and this time where we are in the world, I believe we need this sound so deeply. Every single one of us can benefit from having the sound of healing crystal singing bowls in our lives. We are living in a time of tremendous divisiveness and conflict. People are in terrible struggles. There's so much we know about depression and mental illness and chronic physical illness that we so need the gifts of sound healing, the benefits of sound healing, to calm our minds, to bring us into a state of peace, and to help us connect with our soul, with our higher self, our divine purpose. You know, some people call it your angels, your guides, your master teachers, whatever language works best for you. And the bowls help us do that. And when we can connect and be in that expanded state of consciousness, we have the opportunity to not only find relief from chronic pain or mental anxiety, but we have the opportunity to move beyond what I would call the conditioned mind, that repetitive mind, that mind that doesn't know the answer to our problems. And we can move beyond that to that space of consciousness, that place of consciousness where there are many more answers. There is much more light. There is much more. We're touching the quantum field of possibilities, and the bowls can take us there.
So tell us about some of the programs and the teachings that you do regarding sound healing.
Well, I've been teaching sound healing with crystal singing bowls for many years, and I have a program called Crystal Bowl Mastery. I also help people all over the world to find the right crystal bowls for them, so that is something that I've been doing for a very long time. I just wrote a best-selling book, which can be found on Amazon or on my website, which is called Crystal Singing Bowls, The Angelic Sound of Healing, Relaxation, and Spiritual Awakening. And there's music. You can find me on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music. Where else? I'm trying to think. Oh yes, and we have a beautiful program called Celestial Sleep for those of you, anybody in the listening audience that has difficulty sleeping. There is a 2.5-hour sleep program called Celestial Sleep that has the sound of the alchemy crystal singing bowls with incredible affirmations for nurturing sleep, and then we have a full instrumental track with delta frequencies to support sleep. And very soon, in the next month to 2 months, we'll be starting the release of a brand new program that I have, which is called Celestial Alignment for Healing. It is 2.5 hours of music plus 48 videos and a self-guided online self-healing through sound music experience with this beautiful, as I said, 2.5 hours worth of music and 48 videos to help you. It's going to be pretty incredible. We're dropping our first song on Spotify probably somewhere in the beginning of July. And then we'll be putting the music out first, and then the full online course will come to follow. So we have much, much more music even coming after that. So it's a lot of opportunity for people to experience the sound of Ashana with the crystal singing bowls in many, many ways now.
So how do people find you and check out your programs and everything?
Well, you can find me on Sound of Ashana. That's SOUND of Ashana, my name, ASHANA.com. And you can also find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. You can go and listen to all kinds of videos and music on there. And we are just starting out on TikTok now. So there's lots of ways to find us, but it's soundofashana.com, and that's definitely the first place to start.
So I know when you mentioned about helping people choose the right crystal singing bowls for them, how does that process work, or what kind of crystals can people choose, or how do you know what to choose?
You know, that's such a good question, because oftentimes when people come to me, they come to me because the world of crystal singing bowls is so vast and there is so much choice. And people go, oh my goodness, I'm absolutely overwhelmed. I really don't even know what to do. Can you help me? And the answer to that is, of course, yes. I do have an online store on my website, soundofashana.com, and it is the Crystal Singing Bowls online store, where I have curated personally many, many sets of crystal singing bowls, single bowls, alchemy bowls. We call them practitioner bowls. You can just take a look, you can listen there. There's videos and pictures where you can experience the bowls. And a lot of times people will call me and say, you know what, I just don't know what to do. Even when I look at everything that you have, I don't even know what's right for me. And so we schedule time for an appointment, and I take you through a very deep meditation. And inside that meditation, I promise you, you will touch the consciousness of the crystal bowls. And inside that experience, well, some people just call me a crystal bowl whisperer, because I have a very, very refined sense of being able to help people find their bowls. I call myself a bowl midwife. I don't choose the sex of the baby, but I do help you deliver it. And I can, when I'm in this process of meditation with people, I will often, more often than not, most of the time, I will actually see the bowls that are coming in for them. And I can help people identify what they are very, very easily. So it's one of the great joys that I have, and inside the work that I do, is putting bowls in the hands of people who are ready for them.
Okay, well, close us out with some final thoughts. Maybe if there was something that I forgot to talk about that you would like to touch on, or just any final thoughts that you have for the listeners, maybe you can also throw in if somebody wants to get into sound healing, doing it, how do they go about doing it?
Well, if someone wants to go dive deep into sound healing, the first thing that I would suggest is that, go search out my music first and foremost. And there's beautiful albums out there, as I said, albums with just the crystal singing bowls and vocals, crystal singing bowls and sacred texts and mantras and chants and prayers. This will give you a taste immediately of the effects of crystalline sound with sacred chant and mantra, or just the bowls by themselves. That's a great place to start. And you can find all that music again on soundofashana.com or on your best streaming platforms. And then when you're ready, go visit the YouTube page and go watch some of the videos. And there are obviously, there are other crystal singing bowl players out there, Tibetan bowl players out there. There are people who play didgeridoos, who play drums. And taste, go taste, try, experience, listen. feel how your body feels when you experience this. And now, just like when yoga came into the United States, into the West, not just the United States, but into the Western world, sound and vibrational healing is beginning to take off like that. So in many of your locations, wherever you live pretty much, I bet if you looked, you will find a sound healing experience. They're often called sound baths. And I encourage you to just go and experience that live and see how it feels, see how it makes your body feel. And just like yoga teachers, if the first time doesn't work for you, try somebody else until you find that right combination of sound that allows you to feel relaxed, rested, peaceful, rejuvenated, and restored.
Ladies and gentlemen, soundofashana.com. Please be sure to check out Sound Healing and check out her music and book and everything that she's up to. If you know somebody that's into sound healing or can use some sound healing, please follow, rate, review, share this episode to as many people as possible. If you have any guests or suggestion topics, cjackson102@cox.net is the place to send them. As always, thank you for listening, and Ashana, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Curtis. It was my pleasure.
For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.